Hello there guys, and welcome back to our car modeling tutorial. And today in this episode we will have a go at creating some honeycomb mesh for inside these blocks here, and hopefully get started on the lights, because I do believe it's only the lights that we actually need to finish on this car before we start on the interior. I'm not sure if I've already mentioned, but I'm not going to be modeling the wheels. I'm just going to roll with these wheels here because they look pretty decent as they are. So by the end of the tutorial we'll have one complete body piece and then one complete interior. If you do want to model the wheels yourselves, obviously I can link you to a tutorial in the description that I've modeled wheels for before. So what we're going to do is we'll start with the honeycomb mesh here. Now I've done this a couple of times before as well, so we'll go through this fairly quickly. I'm going to start with a plane here. Let's just get in our wireframe. Start with a plane, and I am going to select the edges. I'm going to select all the first edges here. I'm going to move across two, select again, move across two, and select. And then we can go to Edit Mesh and Bevel. We want the fraction of these to be all the way up to 1, like so. Now, what we're going to do with this is I'm just going to get rid of all of this information here. And let's go into our top view, it might be a bit easier up here. Get rid of our X-ray there. We don't need any of these faces here, don't need any of these down here either. And I'm not going to need those. We'll also, easy enough, get rid of these lines down here. Now what we're going to want to do is grab all of these lines here. I'm going to go to Edit Mesh and delete Edge and Vertices, and then we're just going to grab all these edges inside here as well. And we don't want to delete the edge and the vertices, because the vertices will maintain the structure of this for us. We're just going to hit delete on those fairly simply. So that's giving us this kind of shape here that we're left with. Let's center the pivot, and we'll be able to rotate this now on our x-axis. We'll go 90 degrees, and let's bring this into position now. It's a bit tricky here because we don't have any indication on this blueprint of how large these portions should be, but on my reference here it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 rows in that top portion up here. So if we say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so if we go for something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should sit nicely there. We're obviously going to want to go down the way as well, so I'm just going to hit Ctrl D on this, and that looks like it should be nice size. So what I'll do with this is just delete this portion here, because we are going to link all of these together. We want these to be fairly tileable, so we can grab let's just grab both of these real quick. We'll just make sure that they're actually in front of everything there. So I'm going to hit Mesh, Combine, and right where we have the join in here, I'm just going to grab these, and I am going to Edit Mesh and merge them together. So what this is going to be now is a simple case of we are going to want to basically duplicate all of these elements here. Let's just check faces look okay. So what we're going to do with this is we will hit Ctrl D. I'm going to pull it out to the side here. So we now have two lots, and we are going to combine them again. And then we're going to run down here and merge them together. So I'm going to quickly put all of these together. So I'll speed this up just a little bit, and then we'll get back at it in a few. Okay guys, so we've got all that put together, which is looking pretty good. I've snapped that into the center and also I've modified and centered the pivot. So what we're going to do is we're just going to hit Control D on that. We're just going to move that away just to keep it safe in case we need it again. And what we're going to want to do now is we're going to want to extrude all of these elements. So we'll grab all of these here, like so. We're going to hit Control E. And we can see now I've got an awful lot of Z fighting inside here where these faces are all trying to stick together. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn Keep Faces Together off. And we are going to go inside here and we're going to stay on the component view as we do this. And we're just going to take these down. Now it looks like they're fairly thick, so we're just going to pull those in just a little bit. We'll generally want to pull down a little bit more. Just going to go in a little bit, and then we're going to hit Control E again, and we don't need to worry about the faces now because none of them are touching. We're just going to take those in. We'll take them in a fair amount, something like that, because that will help us when we render these. We won't have empty space in the background there. And then finally we just want to hit delete on the keyboard, and that's going to get rid of all those faces that we had selected. Now what we want to do with this again, I'm going to hit Control D and we're going to drag that on out of the way there. And we'll just keep those over here just in case we need them. We do have a few areas that we want to put some of this honeycomb mesh. I think we're going to go down in these vents here, might go along the side. I don't think there's anything at the back that we'll need to worry about. Okay. So what we're going to do now with our duplicated bit here is we are going to want to pull this roughly into position. Now I think we're probably going to want it to sit around here. That should be fine. But we do want to get a little bit of bend to this. So we're going to actually pull this out, maybe just behind this line here. And let's just quickly, there's a few ways we can do this. We could use a lattice deformer. I'm just going to grab our vertices here, and I'm going to grab the same amount on either side. So let's maybe go for those complete ones there. So we've got two complete portions here, and two complete portions here. So we've got the same, roughly the same amount here. I'm going to hit B on the keyboard so that we can get our soft selection. And inside our tool settings here, we can go to the soft selection section, and we're just going to increase the fall off radius here because we want this to roughly meet in the middle for each of these. So the areas that are yellow are going to be affected the most, and then the areas that are black are going to be affected slightly less. So we're just going to pull this until we've got a little bit of a crossover, because we want those to stay roughly in the same spot, but we want to get some curve as well. And then we can just pull those into position so we can see that that's curving those inner portions there quite nicely. And I think what would be nice is if we follow the curvature of this line as we go back there. So something maybe like that. So that's looking pretty good. I think what we'll also want to do with this is we will also want to rotate it and then push it back. Maybe something like that, maybe a little bit more. Okay, something like that looks pretty good. So we see that's looking in there quite nicely. And now what we're going to want to do is just get rid of all of the faces as part of this that we don't need. So we'll just grab our faces here. We're going to simply select these. We can hit B to remove the soft selection now. We're just going to hit delete on those. We'll do the same around here. And I'm just going to go around here real quick, and I'm just going to delete any faces that we don't see just to maximize our poly count inside here. Okay guys, so we're looking good there. We've got that inside there looking quite nice. Remove our wireframe. You can see that's looking pretty good. I am going to apply my darker material to that as well. Let's go for that one for now. So got that in there, which is looking pretty good. John from 852 is going to be modelling the badge inside here. Similar to how we did with the BMW tutorial before, for those of you who are OGs with the channel. Okay, so everything else is looking pretty good there. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit Ctrl D, and we're going to bring this in here, because we are also going to want to add some ventilation inside here. So first of all, this is all obviously far larger than we need it to be, so let's just get rid of that, and get rid of that. And I think what we might be able to do with this is, I'm hoping, let's just get our pivot centered there. I am hoping that we will be able just to add this in and maybe just give it a little bit of a rotate. So let's maybe just start with this one here. Give it a little bit of a rotate. Push that in. It's looking okay just there. Let's just double check and the other thing, let's just get a little bit of rotation here. And this as close as we can. Okay, that's looking okay. So let's do the same with that. Let's isolate the selection inside here too. And let's just grab anything on here that we don't need as well. Those ones, so let's go back. Let's take a bunch off here. I'll probably tidy this up a little bit more in between episodes, but get an idea of what it looks like. Again, I've done too much there. Okay. So that's looking good, and again, let's get our darker material in here as well. Okay, so that's not too bad. I think I'll probably refine that a little bit in between videos, but that's okay for now. Let's bring everything else back in. Okay. It's looking okay, and let's just quickly duplicate that, and we could drop that on the other side as well. We'll need to do that twice. So that's looking good. And then we just need to do one more. If we grab this, I'm just going to bring this down here. Get this rotated on the 90 degrees there. I'm going to bring this down the side. I'll drop this inside here now. If I check my references, I think this is considerably a little bit smaller, so let's just do something like that. And it shouldn't be too tricky now to delete any excess, because we're working with a fairly straightforward shape. Just check a little bit more here, every little helps. go just down here. Cool, okay, that should be fine. Hopefully. Probably won't need to get much of a rotation on this. It should sit inside that groove there quite nicely, which it has. And again, let's just throw our darker material on there too. So that's looking good. So it's little details like that which is going to really put a difference between this model. And let's just do that. Duplicate that over there too. Cool. Okay, so we're looking good. I think now what we'll end up doing is let's have a think about the headlights, because that is going to be a fairly big job. We've already got the glass in here that we added before, which is fine. So let's right now just take our smooth away from here, smoothing group off. And let's bring these in here. So what we'll actually do with this is I'm going to hit Ctrl D, and on the duplicated one I am going to delete all the history on this real quick, and I'm going to center the pivot, and also I'm going to freeze the transformations for now as well. So that means now when we move this forward, we're going to be able to reset it back to the same spot. So we'll just pull that out there for now. With this one, let's just center the pivot as well. What we're actually going to do with this one is we're going to grab its face here. Let's just give a little go at extruding in. Just a little bit. Okay. And before we do anything else with this extrusion, let's just have a go here at just tidying this up a little bit. Do it in the component option as well, so we're not going to mess too much up in terms of its positioning. And what this is going to be is this is going to act like a little case for our headlights, as I've explained before in the tutorials that we've made in the past. The glass for these headlights actually connects to a bit of a case, kind of a back into them. It doesn't necessarily connect to the actual body of the car, which a lot of people tend to do. So what we want to do is we actually just want to create a very small kind of element on the edge here, or something like that. Maybe go down a bit more here. Very small lining on the edge, and this is what the actual glass is going to connect to. So we should be able to delete that face. Let's grab this one here, and normally what we do is we go in the way, but because of the angle of this, I think what we might want to do is we're going to extrude in on the blue. Before we do that though, it looks like we do have an issue down here because of this intersection. I think what we actually want is we actually want this vertices to sit on this lower portion here. For these ones though, maybe what we'll do is have that sit part of the way up, like so, because this one actually sits on this inner lip down here. So let's just snap these to them and bring these up here. I think that portion there should be okay. Let's just get a bit more depth to that. I'm also going to want to maybe pull in on these a little bit too to kind of match the same trajectory of everything else. Okay. So looking a little bit better now. So let's try that again. Let's hit Control E. And we'll come in on that blue component option there. Maybe actually scale in ever so slightly as well. Okay, so maybe do something like that. This will allow us here to then add a slightly darker material to it as well. Cool. Now if we hit 3 and 3 and 3 on here, what we're going to want to do is we are going to want to try and maintain the actual shape of the headlight there. So for the most part we've done okay. We do need to shore it up at the top. We are going to need to be careful down here, so we're going to grab these points. I'm just going to pull them in and down, just so that they're not interfering with the actual shape of the headlight. We can see down here we're going to have another little bit of interference, so we'll do the same again. Grab this point here, just pull that down. Do the same just in there. Good. Just pull that down and out of the way there, so that's looking okay. That's looking okay as well. So we're looking nice all around here, not so much up top. So up top here, we're going to want to do a few things. Now, firstly, I think with these top portions, I actually want these to be a bit further up here, like so. We'll actually probably want these to be coming up here as well. Okay. So it looks like for the headlights then that we're gonna want this. Let's just double check that one more time. Hit 3 on all of these, that's looking fine. Up here we're gonna need to insert a couple of edge loops, so we'll drop one just here. And then we'll maybe drop 2 up here. Maintain. So that's sitting there now, looking pretty good. And let's just insert an edge loop around this edge. Maybe drop one more in the middle to help us maintain that kind of shape. Now we're not actually going to see much of this. This is purely just going to be what our glass is going to be attaching to. We will be then adding further information to that, so that's looking good. And there, so I think let's grab just grab some of these. Just make sure we're got a nice base to be sat on top of here. Okay, so that's looking good. Now, looks like what we'll actually do is let's grab this face here and we'll just delete it, because we are going to be building on top. We're just going to use this here as kind of nice portion for the glass to sit on. I think what we'll also do is let's grab some edge loops and we'll drop them on the top here. Just to give us more of a nice line going all around there. Do appear to have a little bit of a gap here, so let's bring that over. Okay, that's looking okay. That's fine. So, what we'll do now is, let's actually keep these smooth. What we'll do now is we're going to start to build the actual light section here. So if I just go through, get a good, so it looks like we've got a daytime running light that runs around up here. We've got a large section in the center, and there's not really much else to it. We should have some detail inside of our bit here, which we do, which is good. So I think what we'll probably do is, let's maybe start with the actual bulb in the center. We'll do that with just a cylinder here. And let's bring this up into position. And let's get this rotated. So what we'll maybe do with this is we could use this as kind of a starting point maybe, and then we can build everything off of it. So let's maybe bring it down to size here. Probably don't need to smooth this, so let's just add some additional subdivisions to this. We'll maybe go 36 for that, just so it's nice and rounded. We probably won't have to smooth it afterwards, which is good. So it looks like this is going to be done in a few levels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up so it's touching the outer portion of the light there, the actual kind of bulb area. Let's bring this into position here. Now, what we're going to want to do with this is we are going to want to grab all of these frontal faces, and we're going to use the same element here just to kind of build as much as we can. I'm going to hit Control E, and let's bring this down to just here. And I'm going to hit Control E again. I'm going to bring that down again, just there. So I've got an extra line in the middle because it looks like that line is actually a break inside there. I'm going to hit Control E again, and this time we're going to go in the way. Something like that. And I'm also going to extrude down. Something like that looks good. Let's hit Control E again and go in. I'm going to hit Control E again and come down. This time it looks like we're going to want to come out as well, so we'll go something like that. And then it looks like this is going to want to be the glass section. So we'll bring this down and protrude that out a little bit there. Okay, so that's looking okay. It's got various shades inside here. Various different materials. We've got blacks and chromes, but what we'll do is we'll grab some edge loops, and edge loops always help these sections become a little sharper because we don't plan on smoothing this off, so we'll add an edge loop in there. Let's just drop one. Oops, not on that side. Let's drop one here, like so. So that's looking okay. Let's maybe grab let's maybe pop a couple more edges in here. That looks okay. We'll go one more there too. It's got a bit of nice curve to that. I think what we could also do is let's create a little sphere here, and I'm just going to snap that to the center point the best that I can. So what we'll do with this is before we do anything actually, let's take that down. Take the radius down to something like 8 by 8. And the reason we'll do this is because this is going to be inside of this domed section. And what we'll do is, let's grab all of the front faces here and delete them. And I'm just going to hit Ctrl D on this as well. We're going to grab the faces here and we're going to go mesh display in reverse so the normals are coming out the front instead of the back. And this one here I'm actually going to rotate around 180 degrees and scale this down, because this is going to be our little bulb that's going to sit inside there. Can't really see much through these anyway, it looks like the kind of halogen kind of headlights. So I'll grab those side here, and I'm just going to snap it to that center point, and then just going to scale it up. Maybe make it a little more shallow. I'll just drop that back there. Because all of this portion here, I will extract this at some point. There's going to be parts of different elements of the headlight, so that's fine. What we could do right now is let's grab all of these edges and delete them. And then we'll also grab all the rear edges here and we'll delete those too. And in the next episode what we'll do is we'll start building off of this portion here. Okay guys?